Hello, I'm Philip Stoten. I'm here on the SCOOPstudio at Productronica 2017, and I'm joined by three gentlemen to discuss the topic of smart supply chain. We have Robert from Mentor, we have Jörg from ASM Assembly Systems, and Kevin from Roundtable. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me. What I want to explore initially is where you think the opportunities lie within smart supply chain and what your customers are asking you to do that kind of goes outside the factory walls and connects to the supply chain they're using.
Thanks for inviting me. Well, what I see a lot in manufacturing is, so we have customers that say, I'm not just satisfied with just-in-time delivery within the factory, they want to be connected. Like one of their customers is moving to a new building, 25% smaller, so they have to get more efficient. So they have to integrate the full supply chain with an automated transport system and so on into this whole factory to deliver it on time. That's one of the aspects. We see also very, very different aspects. For instance, we know that purchasing likes to buy the cheapest product. So what we also have some solutions where you can analyze different products from different vendors, maybe the same resistor, whatever, but slightly different, and one has more defects than the other one. All this needs to be analyzed and fed back and say, wait a minute, this might be a little cheaper, but looking at the manufacturing cost, maybe the second cheapest is a better choice. So there are a lot of opportunities to actually improve the whole supply chain in the future once we have all the big data and analyze it.
And that's all in place. And Jörg, you're in an interesting position of having your own supply chain that you have to manage, but also being asked by customers to help them manage theirs. What are you seeing in terms of supply chain trends at the moment?
Yeah, as always, as a supply chain manager, you have to work on a daily basis on your productivity improvements to increase the quality and also the performance. So that's a normal demand for a supply chain manager. So, and in the world of Industry 4.0, there are a lot of new ideas and already solutions which really helps us to, on the one hand side, to offer our customers additional value, but at the same side also to improve our own supply chain. Yeah. So, and here, as always, or let me say, the Industry 4.0 is still in a hype curve. Yeah. So, and we really have to look on what is already major that we can use it. Yeah. And there are still very nice ideas, let me say, as improvement potentials for the future. Yeah. So and one trend is for me clearly automation, but not automation in a way, let me say, what is the old-fashioned way. Yeah. It's really something like a new level of automation. It's advanced robotics. Yeah. This is clearly for me one topic, and here I'm not talking about the automation, the high complex automation which we implemented in the past. I'm talking about really a different way of the world of collaborative robots, the cobots. I'm talking about autonomous intelligent vehicles, the ARVs. Yeah. So and it's, my opinion is also, it's not any longer the time of the heartland of production. It's really also automation in logistics. Yeah. So and also automation in processes. Yeah. Where we are using the sensor technologies, for example, that we really reduce also booking efforts. So one topic, the automation. And the other, I think, is clearly the digitalization, new IT technologies, cloud computing, and big data analytics. Yeah. As a supply chain manager, I have to know, and this in a very precise way, where's my material? Yeah. That I get the information about inventories, demand, consumption, but also risks. Yeah. So, and getting this information in a very, in a way that I really can decide very fast. Yeah. That I really get out of this huge amount of data the right information. This is also for me smart.
Yeah. So it's a lot of data, Kevin, and it's data way beyond the factory floor, isn't it? How far down the supply chain, how many tiers do you think people are demanding that level of smart supply chain, that level of data control?
Well, all the way down. I don't think there's any limit to where you would say, okay, from this point on, I don't need an intelligent supply chain anymore. All the way to final shipment and tracking after shipment. I also completely agree, Robert, with what you said. I think one of the keys to an intelligent supply chain is knowing the true costs of components. And the true cost is, of course, what you're paying for it today, but also how reliable is the component. How successfully can I implement it in my products? How often am I going to have component-related defects? And, that is something which we've put a lot of energy into with our bump connector product, which we named Connector, exactly to bring forward how important it is to plug into different sets of data, because there's no single data set which is going to deliver to you all the necessary information on your cost of components and on your sourcing.
Yeah. So when you look at that sourcing, you're obviously analyzing the performance of the component. Are you also analyzing the performance of that component's supply chain itself, so delivery, risk mitigation, all those kind of things?
Absolutely. And now you're talking about connecting in with the different distributors, because different distributors, of course, have different supply times and different reliability levels. So to be able to look into, who are my most reliable sources, because as you said, the best price is not always the cheapest price. The best price is the most reliable, the most predictable, and for certain projects, the one who can provide me the quickest with the material.
Yeah. Robert, now you're part of Siemens.
That's correct.
So a lot more horsepower in terms of software development, in terms of new stuff going on. What are terms like digital twin, terms like artificial intelligence, augmented reality? What does that mean in terms of your product development and how that is going to allow us to visualize supply chains in the future?
Yeah, if you understand a little bit what Siemens already has, which is impressive, with Mentor, we actually have now the digital thread on the whole board design side. So Siemens designs the whole board in a virtual twin. The mechanical design does the DFM, is it manufacturable and so on, does the whole automation of the mechanical processes, the execution. With Mentor, we come in with the same level, but on the board side. So we design the boards, we do the DFM to make sure everything is manufacturable, we do the process preparation, the execution, and typically everything comes together in the box build area. So if I change a connector, maybe the casing is wrong, it's a wrong hole, it's too big or too small. You find it out in box build, it's a little too late. Or when you change the casing, maybe there's a heat problem on the BC board and so on. So what we are bringing together is all these designs in a much, much earlier stage to make the digital twin of the product, to simulate is the whole product manufacturable, and this is working together. The digital twin of the process is the manufacturing process, and later on the digital twin of the production, collecting all the data, how was it manufactured, and bring together everything on the backbone. Now with Siemens, we have actually the manpower to really do this. I mean, I have not seen such an opportunity. Mentor alone would be too small, even though it was $1 billion company. We could not do it. With Siemens, I think there's nobody else that can actually do the whole story the way we can. It's for me really exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting times, and Jörg, when you look at it from your point of view, you're controlling the supply chain coming in, the supply chain coming out. You're also working with your customers who have their issues on supply chain. Are there areas like digital twin and artificial intelligence that are, we're a long way from spreadsheets, but that are moving you from where you are now to that next stage?
Yeah, absolutely. Technologies like artificial intelligence, but also virtual and augmented reality are already cases which we are using, again, on both sides. We are offering solutions for our customers, but also we are using these solutions in our own organization. So artificial intelligence is, from my perspective, the fundament of, it started with Industry 4.0, with Internet of Things. And what is Internet of Things? It's that things are starting to communicate together, and that they are getting intelligence. So it was in the beginning very abstract, but now we are really talking about very concrete solutions. And in this case, the smart supply chain or the smart factory is reality. Yeah, just take our solutions like the process expert, yeah, or the material solutions. Here are already communicating machines together. Yeah, so sending informations about I'm not currently in this stage. Now I need this. Yeah, so that we really have this. Yeah, I really can say that we achieved this level of this stage of Internet of Things, but I'm quite sure that we are still in a very early stage. Yeah, so we are piloting every day new solutions, and I mentioned also the augmented reality here. We are really looking for what is the. On the one hand side, it's nice to have this prototype, but finally you need something like a serial solution which brings us increase in, again, quality or performance or what else, yeah? Or flexibility also maybe. Yeah? So, here also in this area of augmented reality, we identified the first cases where we can say, yeah, that is really an improvement for our organization. Yeah. Yeah. But there are still a lot of ideas, and I'm quite sure in 10 years we will laugh about, it was really just an early stage. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And last question for you, Kevin. As a systems integrator, I guess 10 years ago, people were coming to you and talking about fairly boxed-in solutions. Now it's almost a business solution, isn't it? When you're looking at what you're doing, it impacts their whole business.
Absolutely. And we don't even need to go back 10 years. So it really is, innovation is by its definition always in an early stage because you're always innovating. But if you look at the strides that have been achieved just in the last few years, so one of the first things we do as an integrator is we take a before video in order to compare it with the after video after we've set up a smart material management solution. And it's really, really impressive to see how we went from, stacks of trolleys and excess material everywhere, people carrying things everywhere, carrying back. And suddenly we have a little robot going to the warehouse, bringing material to a machine, which was requested by the machine directly. And suddenly you can see all through the factory, and you can really, it's a very visual representation of what happens when you improve and make your material supply chain more intelligent. Because as we also say, I always say it's not so much intelligent data, it's using data intelligently. Because the data's there, it's been there, but now we're using it much more intelligently.
Yeah, and as you say, Jörg, we're going to use it in ways that we hadn't thought of before. Exciting times ahead, lots going on. Thank you very much for your time, gentlemen, and thanks for joining me today. Thank you.